Alrighty.
Excellent. Yeah, I can see your recording. Fantastic. So, well, if you don't have any questions, Abby, I'm going to let you begin with your simulation. So remember, this is a training session, so it's a great opportunity to take risks and stretch yourself if you feel like doing so. Okay, so enjoy, and I'll see you in about 15 minutes or so.
All right.
Oh, hello, Miss Jordan. Good to see
Hello.
you.
It's great to
Hi.
see you. How are you guys
I
doing
really
today?
doing well. I really like those I don't know, pictures or paintings that you've got behind you.
Oh,
They're
thank you.
really nice.
They're called vinyls, if you know what that is. They go in a
Oh,
record player.
oh, so cool that you have them on the wall.
Thank you very much. How is everyone else
Mhm.
doing today?
Yeah, doing okay.
You doing
Doing
okay?
okay, thank you.
What about you, Carlos and Will? How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I love math, so I'm excited about this.
That's great.
I'm doing okay.
Great. So are we ready to start some math today?
Yes.
Great. I'm super ready. I love math. So before we get started, can someone remind me what we need to remember while doing division? What's something we need to remember? Yeah, Mina?
I think that we need to remember to divide the bigger number by the smaller number.
That's great. That is such a good point. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else that we need to remember?
I don't know.
Why don't we think about it for a second? You can think back to the work that you did that we're going to talk about. What did you have to do to solve that problem?
Well, I suppose we had to guess which number we could divide the bigger number by using like the smaller number.
That's right. You had to make an educated guess to see how many you want to try. That's great, Jayla. Thank you. Anything else we need to remember?
Not sure.
Not sure? Something I like to remember is to check my work every time. Do you guys like to check your work too?
To be honest, that's a good idea, but I don't think I did it for this one.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk about that down the line once we get to see the example problems. But I think it's super good to check your work. Anything that we need to remember? Or you think we're ready to move on?
I don't know. I think we're maybe ready to move on, but it's up to you.
When I was looking at everyone's work, so we did the problem 1,080 divided by 15. And I looked at all 5 of your works. And what I really liked about it is that everyone kind of did it a little differently. No one did it the exact same way. And I thought it was very cool to see that. Would anyone like to share how they solved the problem?
I would love to.
Jayla, go for it. Thank you for raising your hand.
And okay, so I think we should all have everyone's work here so they can all follow as well. So let's see. So yeah, okay, I remember. So I did the first part I did it in my head, so it's not actually on here. But I knew that 15 times 100 would be 1,500. And that's way too much. So I then thought about doing half of that. So 15 times 50, but that would be 750. So that's also way too low. And then this is the part that's actually on here. I picked something in the middle.
Great. Anyone else like to share what they did? Maybe someone did it a little differently than Jayla?
Yeah, I didn't do it this way.
Why don't you explain how you did it, Mina?
Okay, sure. So I tried to narrow in on the right numbers to be multiplied as well. I first tried 90 though, and that was too high.
You're right.
But so what I did is I got 1,350, and I subtracted 1,080 just to see how far I was, how far off I was.
Yeah.
So I got 270. Yeah.
You did great. Thank you so much. Emily, Will, or Carlos, would you like to share how you did your problem?
Yeah, I did it completely different too.
That's great. Would you like to explain to everyone how you did it?
Sure. So I tried, well, I guessed as well, but I started with a lower number. I started with 10, which was actually way too low.
Yeah.
Because I got 150. And then I tried 20 and 30, and then I added those up.
Great.
To see where I was.
And then you kept going as well until you got.
Yeah, I kept going. Yeah.
When did you stop?
Oh, I stopped when I reached 0. So, yeah, when I added all of those together and I got to 1,080.
Great.
That's when I stopped.
Great. And then you added the numbers up at the end?
Yeah, I did.
Great. Will or Emily, would you like to share how you did the problem?
Sure, I can go next.
Great. Thank you, Emily.
So I picked 60 to multiply 15 by, because I knew that that wouldn't go over.
Right.
So 15 times 60 is 900. So then I subtracted 900 from 1,080, and I got 180 left.
That was great, Emily. Thank you so much. Will, would you like to share, and then we can move on?
Sure.
Thank you, Will.
Okay, so I guessed what number might get me close to 1,080 as well. So first I tried 50, and that brought me to 750. And I knew that I needed like half of that maybe, so I tried 20, which was 300. Yeah, and then I added them together, and I was only 30 away, so I did the rest there.
Great. Thank you so much. I loved listening to all of you explain your work. It was such great math thinking. So what our main job for today is, we are going to look at students' work. So I have two friends who did the same exact problem as you guys, and we're going to discuss their work. So first, I have Leah. And I don't know if you guys have Leah's problem, but I have Leah's problem right here. So we're going to look at Leah's work.
Oh yeah, we actually have that on our tablet too. So we can look at it on here.
When you guys take a look at Leah's work, we're going to discuss it a little bit. So something that I wanted to point out about Leah's work is that she has two multiplication problems on the side. So she has 15 times 7 and 15 times 8. Will someone answer why you think she did that? What was she trying to do?
I mean, I guess she was trying to do what we all did, but she picked a smaller number.
Yeah. Thank you, Jayla. Will someone tell me what number she ended up using?
She used the 7 because it says 105 there.
You're right, because 15 times 8 would be too high, right? Yeah, because that equals 120. Thank you, Mina. And then, what do you think she did next? So once she had the 105, what do you think she did next?
It looks like she subtracted like we did, but I don't know why. Maybe she forgot a 0.
Why do you think she forgot a 0?
Because it says, or at least it looks like, it says 1,080 minus 105 is 30, but that should be 1,050 maybe.
You know what? You're right. It kind of does look like that. But when I look at the problem, it looks like that she started with the 108, so she can start with a smaller number. So she just forgot about the zero for that second and just did the 108. And then, does that make sense, Mina?
Yeah.
Because then you look at 108 minus 105, you get 3. But Leah brought down the 0. You see how she brought down the 0? And that's how she got 30. So does anyone else would like to tell me what she did next after she had that 30? Anyone else?
I can try.
Go for it, Jayla.
So if she didn't use the 0 in the beginning, but then she definitely added it at the end. So instead of 7, it was 70. So plus 2, 72. So she got the same result as we did.
Yeah, she just did it a little differently. Yeah, thank you, Jayla. And then the last thing that I wanted to point out about Leah's work is that she has another multiplication problem on the side. She has 72 times 15. Can someone tell me what that means? Emily, do you have any ideas? Emily, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I think she checked her work there.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Emily. And remember how we discussed earlier how it's super important to check your work? Because sometimes you might do the whole problem correctly and then just make one teeny error. And because Leah was able to check her work, she was able to see if she did it correctly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, like you said before.
Yeah. So who thinks they're going to check their work next time? Because I think it's really good to check your work, right?
Yeah.
So next, we have Max. So everyone want to look at how Max did the problem? Max did it very differently than Leah.
We have that here too, guys.
Great. Well, will someone tell me how Max did it differently than Leah? Because his work looks pretty different than Leah's, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's more similar to what we did. Or some of us did.
Yeah, anyone want to explain that? Carlos, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if it's like mine, but it kind of looks similar in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you and Max both added the numbers at the end, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of looks the same. Anyone else want to mention anything that Max did?
I think that what Max did is kind of the same as I did, just with a slightly different number.
You're right, because you started with 60, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he started with 50.
And Max started with 50, you're right. And then what was Max doing on the side? He has those numbers circled. Will, do you know why he had those numbers circled, Max?
Because he wanted to add them up together and make sure he didn't forget about them.
Exactly. So Max has 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2. Anyone know what that equals?
Oh, yeah. I know.
What does it equal, Will?
That's equal 72.
Great. And that was the answer to the problem, right?
Yeah.
So now I have a very important question that I wanted to ask you guys. Is there a right way to solve this problem? Because everyone did it differently, but is there a right way?
I think as long as you get to the same results, all of these ways are right?
I agree with you. That's a really great way to put it. Anyone want to add something to that? Anything else to say?
Yeah, I think you need to do what feels good to you, what's easier to you in your head.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Jayla, because maybe the way that Jayla did the problem is really confusing to Emily, for example. So then Emily could choose a way that makes sense in her brain, right? It's so great to see all the different ways that we can solve division problems. and we can all get the right answer as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now I have another question for you guys. Who thinks that they prefer Leah's way of solving a problem over Max's way? What way do you think works better for you individually? Yeah, Jayla? Yeah, Jayla?
Yeah, I think that that mine works well for me, but yeah, because what I mean, I guess what she did makes sense now, but I would still do what I did.
Great. What about you, Carlos?
Well, I find what she did, what Leah did, a bit confusing, so I think I prefer my way.
That's a good way, because you thought in your brain and you saw Leah's work and you thought that it might not work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least not now, but it's interesting to see how she did it.
It is interesting, and it's fun to see that all your classmates just think differently than you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great. Do you have anything to add, Will? Which way do you think works better for you?
I think mine worked well for me, but I quite like what Leah did. Maybe I'll try it in the future.
Yeah, I think it's good to try new ways as well, because you never know, it might, work better for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Abby, thank you so much for that lesson. The 15 minutes are up, so here we are. Would you be okay if I just asked you a couple of reflection questions?
Yeah.
Great, excellent. All right, so let's start with this one. In relation to the outcome, which strategies do you think that you used well?
What strategies? I tried to get all the students talking, and I tried to get a variety of different answers, because I noticed right away that Will was kind of on the quiet side. So I realized that he might not volunteer himself. So I just tried to make him comfortable to answer some questions. And I just tried to get as many viewpoints as possible.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. I observed all of that. So yeah, totally. Okay, now if you had a chance to do this again, is there anything that you would do differently or that you think that you could improve upon?
So I noticed that when Carlos was talking about his problem, how the work he did, he never said that he got the incorrect answer. And I didn't want to point him out in front of everyone and say that he got the incorrect answer. So maybe I would figure out a way to just go about that maybe differently. Because I mentioned just checking your work and kind of going, because he got the right answer if he added it up correctly. So I kind of hinted at that.
Absolutely.
Maybe I would have been more clear next time.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to ask you about it actually. So, that makes complete sense that you didn't want to single him out in front of everyone. But you're right. Perhaps there is a way to still correct him and not make him feel like he did something horrible or anything.
Right.
So. Awesome. Okay, great. And then last question, is there one thing that you're taking away from this experience that you think that you will use the next time you face a similar situation in real life?
Honestly, yeah. I've never taught long division, or never even taught students long division, so that's definitely built my confidence in preparing for a lesson and teaching it and being prepared and having questions prepared. It was nice to have that.
Great. Excellent. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. All right. Well, Abby, this actually concludes our simulation. So please stop the recording. Let's make sure it all